We're going to go ahead and start this talk off, this first episode of our Spiritual Absoluteness podcast with time. As usual, in normal fashion, we're going to go in reverse. My 5 topics on spiritual absoluteness go in the order of family, love, business, time, and spiritual enlightenment or enlightenment. And we're going to go ahead and just go off the mind. Hope that the Spirit will lead us into some understanding and open our hearts and minds to what is available in our um, body and our spiritual capacity to reveal truth to us. We want to use some common sense. Okay. Let me go ahead and start by talking a little bit about myself. If you don't know me, my name is Demetrio Guerrero, and I am a spiritual leader in Austin, Texas. I've been kind of going through this spiritual awakening for the past almost 10 years now. Um, it's been about 8 years, 7 to 8 years, but it was around the age of 30 when it first started. Really, it goes back. I'll give you a little back history. So around I had a little bit of a rough childhood because our separation. My parents got separated at when I was around 4 or 5, and it caused me to rebel. I've always had the curiosity about God and spirituality coming from a Christian household or a Catholic household at that time. And when I rebelled, I wouldn't find myself in jail or juvenile, as a kid. And I always looked at the Bible and the spirituality. So I asked, adults about, even when I was real young, I remember asking about the clouds and about different things, trying to figure out what's going on. And as you might not know, today is my birthday. It's New Year's Eve. So that's where my first introduction with time came along. If you guys don't know anything about the scientific, so time is originally a scientific um, equation in our understanding. Um, or it technically originally was probably from the stars and the movement and just waking up in the morning and looking at the changes of your body and the things around you. Because time is, of course, created by man. It's a word, it's through language. So time in essence isn't real. And that's one thing that we have to get a grasp on. And this is titled Life After Death, or Where Do You Go When You Die? That's because time in itself is very abstract and difficult to understand because people have it different meanings and understandings of it, and there's different reasons for it. Like in the corporate world, you're going to need it to go to work on time, and I don't know. I don't believe in the 9 to 5 job. I don't believe in keeping track of time in that manner. But there is a reason for the historical events and the mathematical equations. Um, so if you don't know, there's the metric system that's used in mostly around the world, but it's the hundreds. And if you have I always talk about the resting heartbeat at 60 to 100. These 60 seconds are important, and the numbers and understanding how that works is very important. But we're not going to necessarily go on that today because this is going to be talking about more about the afterlife and how spiritual teachers and spiritual leaders don't believe in death. And that's my opinion, personal belief. Because energy, when you look at energy in science, it can't be created or destroyed. and we are technically energy bodies with information. So information is also energy and light. We're technically light beings created from energy. And this is all stored in our DNA. So it's picked up. There's a lot of different scientific ways of describing our perception and how matter is created and how it could be an illusion. So if anybody has any comment on a particular topic, my basic understanding and truth is always going to be evolving. I constantly study this stuff, so it's a bit deep, and I always want to come back down to try and catch people where they're at, on their journey, because at the end of this you get clarity, you get purpose, you get fulfillment, you get the tools needed to calm yourself down in stressful situations. You no longer have fear of these, um, pretty much no fear. All right. You're still going to be a human, you're still going to experience emotions, you're just going to have the tools and the ability to overcome these things in a timely manner, if you were. But we are going to have a group. We're going to try and set up some type of um, deeper understanding group that we can, besides this podcast here, I'm going to start this up and we're going to go through these 5 levels of what I believe truths that create the spiritual absoluteness in a person. You can have a lot of different awakenings throughout your life, a lot of different insights, but until you get the full um, aspect of it, then you're really kind of could possibly be bouncing around from different lies that we technically tell ourselves. Um, the spirituality thing never ends. I constantly add and add on to my program. It consists of basically every religion, every meditative practice combined into one. That's why it's the spiritual absoluteness program. I got this from the Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee, how he combined all martial arts into one practice. I combined all martial arts, spirituality, religion, and everything into one practice. And that's how I believe you'll find your own truth. If you have a religion already, you shouldn't deny the religion. You should add on to this religion. Okay. I've struggled with addiction my entire life due to these spiritual voids that I've had. But addiction is a symptom, and there are many symptoms that we carry, just like depression, um, and all these other things. Basically, what I'm here to help people overcome and bring some truth in it. For me, knowledge is all that you need. You don't need anything else but knowledge, and knowledge can be extremely overwhelming. So, um, with that, there has to be some balance. There has to be some self love, self care. So we talk about that very deeply. So the afterlife. Let's get into this. I waited a little bit too long. What I believe is we are living in a simulation type reality. So there are multiple dimensions or worlds out there, and our information, genetic coding, DNA is multiplanetary. Um, so basically, the atoms in our body are accumulated over time, and they pass through water or atmospheric. There's water in the atmosphere. So basically, whenever we die, our information will be transferred through water into another realm. I also believe that we as spiritual consciousness have evolved from every dimension of reality. So we were, and there's levels of it. So we're passing on to the next level, basically. We were once, you could say, fungi, you could say a tadpole. Then we evolved into these other um, evolutions of life from, every animal, every plant, and then we became conscious beings. And after this, we get into our spiritual body and we become etherical beings, or what I say, we pass through this black hole. That what so there, why nobody can get an actual foot on the answer to any type of truth, um, is because we're technically in a black hole. So we don't have the full truth. The full truth is on the other side of the event horizon. All right. And if you study science, you know what the event horizon is. And basically the information is decoded on the other side of the event horizon, and there's a new being. So similar to reincarnation, there's a new being on the other side, and the new being comes out as everyone. Similar to how we have faculties in our body, um, allowing us to be the entire being, we are a faculty in the body of God. I consider each person a thought in the mind of God, or a letter or a word. But this creates the entire picture for the universe to evolve. And the earth is spinning on its axis, so everything is a harmonic frequency. This is sound, energy, or movement. All right. The movement of the earth is important because if we cause a global mass awakening, this will cause an energy shift in the poles. This is why I don't want to teach too many people at once, and I don't believe that there should be a mass awakening. The problems of the world are important. This is what keeps balance. Death is also important. All these things are real, and they should be understood in a way that we help to bring more functionality to our cosmic journey. All right. So basically, there's also other people in the world that say climate change, which is basically too much pollution or too much technical evolution rapidly, can cause our harmonic frequency or the world to shift in its poles. And when this happens, we invite outer forces, basically asteroids, to come and hit us. We can push ourselves into a asteroid belt or something like this. Besides solar flares and all this stuff, I got into a lot of scientific stuff because I was also afraid of death and wanted to understand where we went when we died. Because I saw, my grandpa die of a heart attack. I've seen family members die of a heart attack randomly, and um, heart disease and heart attack didn't start until technology started. Technically, like the Industrial Revolution and processed foods and stuff like this. So I had to get the truth down and wanted to study and understand why these things were happening, why people have so many voids, and everywhere I went, nobody can put their foot on the truth. So I advise you or recommend you to do as much study as you possibly can when it comes to science, religion, and ultimately it's all about common sense. It's all about looking deep within your heart and within your mind and realizing that nobody can tell you what you already know. It's inside of your DNA. All right. The body will heal, and the mind and the heart will align. There are so much, what is it? There's so much potential. There's so much information inside of our DNA that if we allow others to constantly put these lies into our mind, we're not going to find the truth, right? So I'm asking you to search for yourself. And I love to give as much advice as possible, but there's nobody that can find it but you. But I want to, again, I want to express that death is not real, okay? Death is not something that you have to fear. And imagine if I told you that death was good, and it's similar kind of to what the Christians talk about Jesus is coming and all this other stuff. Like, what are they talking about? They're talking about they're going to be dying soon. They're going to be going to heaven. They're going to be going to the promised land. And how did everybody become so fearful of that? It's possibly because they don't have a purpose. They don't have a real purpose in life. They haven't allowed heaven on earth. If you don't allow heaven on earth, then of course you're going to be afraid of death. But if you allow heaven here on earth and you understand what death really is, like I said, your information, the memory never goes away. And it's technically a memory, you know, but nobody knows how you're going to die, how you feel when you die, where you're going to go when you die in actual truth. I just gave you my perspective on it. So if nobody knows an actual truth, why would you fear something that nobody knows an actual truth, and this is a like I said, everybody has to have their own experience of it. I've been shot at. I've almost felt like I was going to die through so much pains and heart attacks and all these different nature of death, so we're obsessed with death. The human nature is technically obsessed with death. They're always looking for more ways and problems. They're always looking for more problems, more death, more ways to die, and they don't realize it. They subconsciously do it. So, yeah, and it's kind of our evolution to do so because we've changed so fast in 100 years that our evolutionary biology can't catch up. All right, it can't catch up with the adaptations. We're not teaching enough people about how to catch up. We're now, especially with AI, we're being trained by robots, so it's going to be even more difficult. This is why I believe everybody should start to get on the AI and train it itself to do and teach you what you should be doing in life. And if you don't know, you need to be having some fun, getting some sun, meeting new people. Um, if possible, you can spend a lot of time by yourself studying, but whatever it is that you enjoy doing, and everybody is different, you have to do it. You have to explore these options because passion and pursuit of pure happiness is what our life is about. That's bottom line. If you're missing out on living life because you're stuck in a corporate job or you're stuck listening to people who really don't care about you, that's very unfortunate to me. And this is why I'm here. I'm here to encourage you, to push you, and tell you that you can do it on your own. You don't need other people. Um, and it's your obligation and your moral duty to be happy with life and yourself. Nobody can take this away. Once you find the truth, that's another thing. Once you find the truth, nobody can take it away from you, and you can take it anywhere you want in life, and you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Like me even getting on these podcasts, I'm doing it because I feel that it's a good thing for a certain amount of people, a certain few people, and it's not going to be very long. Like I said, I don't truly believe that there should be or has to be a mass awakening and everybody should reach spiritual enlightenment. I used to like always want to tell everybody that I met and try to change everybody to start having a better perspective and insight, just because I felt that I can see the pain and feel the pain, but it was all from me. I was building this pain in myself, and I had to overcome the truth in me. You know, the spirit, like my thing is reach the highest level of spirituality. I mean, the science, reach the science of truth, then break through it. You know, because science only has a level of truth, but you can break through that level. And that's where I want you to go. All right. We want you to break through this science of truth and be authentic to yourself. And again, you can have a religion or not. It really, really doesn't matter. But count yourself lucky that you're alive today. Count yourself blessed that you have a little bit of time to explore this reality. Because mm, for me, without everybody in the world, that I couldn't be here. Without everybody that that has touched me and I've been able to touch, whether it be in an argument or a fight, it really doesn't matter. Without those things, it wouldn't make life. A lot of people talk about why do you have pain or why is this bad stuff, and there is nothing bad. There is technically no evil, everything, and there is no love. There just is. There is, and it's all beautiful. It's wonderful, you know. And like, imagine if there was no pain. Imagine what you would do with your life. We talked about this before. You would destroy it. You would cut it up into pieces for fashion. You would eat as much as you could possibly eat. The list would go on. You would do nothing because there would be no reason to do anything. So pain gives us a reason, and pain also notifies us that there's something wrong. So in order for us to live, we have to have some pain, you know. And whether it be getting some cold shower in the morning to wake yourself up, or whatever that comes, you have to accept it, you know. I wouldn't say go and look for problems like most people, but just accept it, you know. Where do you guys think that you go when you die? That's kind of a good question. I've seen tons and tons of videos on people of having the afterlife, like seeing the light, all that. That's very interesting as well. Another reason why time is an illusion, because you never have nothing else but now. And time can be experienced in many different ways. It could also be backwards if you really want it to be. It can be manipulated. Know how to. You should trust yourself. So in my quest for truth, I had to start with science. All right. And so everything in our world is a mathematical equation, and there is a study, um, you know, like the matter, the atoms. There's the different type of periodic table. There's different methods of explaining truth, is basically what I'm saying. And what all these methods are trying to do is basically explain God. And if you do this, you're really explaining death. What people really want to know is, where do we go when we die? What happens, or not only that, what do we do while we're alive? What is my purpose? So that after I die, I have that fulfillment, or when I die, I'm fulfilled. Okay? That's what we're all really wanting to do. So start with science and elevate from there. You'll reach a certain level, then you're going to have to break through that science of truth. And truth, because that's our highest level of truth we got, is science. And I believe in it to the fullest. That's why I am Quantum Demetrio, from quantum entanglement, quantum simulator, quantum theory, and it goes on from there. Um, because our quantum theory is our highest level of science right now. You could say string theory, a couple other things, but we've already passed the standard model evolution or whatever the other theory was, general relativity, I believe is what it's called, which Einstein created. We've passed these levels of science that technically our schools have not yet passed. Our education system is still stuck in the 1970s. They haven't elevated into a spiritual realm or even a greater scientific realm. But I'm not sure. I'm not in school anymore. I'm not sure. They might have. They probably do talk about quantum theory and quantum evolution, entanglement, spooky, all these different things that are higher level. Schrodinger's box, double slit experiment. These are very important scientific methods that all people, I believe, in spiritual realms need to also explore and understand. We'll get into some of these deeper in our topics, or this is what I kind of teach in our paid programs. But for me, it has to start with like a deep yearning and a deep wanting, a desire to understand these truths. Because if you just study it, they really kind of look dumb or look like, why the hell would I need to know this? But if you understand telepathy, if you understand manifestation, all of these spiritual aspects come to light when we have quantum theory, because you can use telepathy makes sense in quantum theory, and also reincarnation. All these things begin to make sense. But without the first level of scientific understanding, then you're not able to build onto those building blocks. So I said reach for that scientific truth and break through it. Don't just stop there, but break through it. And what all this is going to do is going to allow us to explore our inner pains, and to um, we can actually teleport ourselves back into the past, and we can see what hurt us. We can feel what hurt us, the people that hurt us. We can feel their pain. We can understand that. We can also teleport ourselves to any situation, and we can see multi perspectives. If we look at perspective, I I can only see this side of my hand, which is my palm, but you can see the other side of the hand, unless I'm looking at a mirror or something. But I can't see this perspective. Only you got that perspective. And if there was somebody over here and over there, they would see the side of my head or the sides of these multi perspectives. But in order to know the truth, you have to teleport yourself back to this realm and see all perspectives. And when you see them, you feel them, you know them. And in order to know the truth, you have to have a multi perspective approach to reality. You have to be able to teleport yourself into any situation in life, the future and the past, the now, and whatever you plan on doing. But it all comes back to knowing who you are and your surroundings. And you don't get this while you're young. You get it at an older age because you haven't explored yet. You don't know what's out there. You could watch as much TV as you want, science, but unless you explore the truth, you won't feel the truth. For me, studying is it's my hobby, it's my passion, it's what I love to do. I've already studied everything more than once. But I love to see multi perspectives. I love to see what people think about stuff, and especially if I don't know it, then like I'm all in studying it. It can be about a rock, an animal in the bottom of the ocean. It could be about anything. Um, because I believe we're all connected. And without knowing something else, how do I know if it's not a part of me? Which I know it is, but how do I know that it's not something that's going to set me free in another path? Because knowledge and exploration has given me so much power and understanding and love and truth that I'm just kind of like high on it and looking for more and more. I'm also an addict, so I'm kind of addicted to it. That's why I study and like videos. I don't always like I used to what I used to do is bad. I used to like I couldn't let go of the phone when I'm watching a video, and I'd have to watch the whole thing, be back and forth. Like if I didn't understand something, I'd pause it, look it up, and I think that was good, but it was still causing a lot of stress, anxiety, and worry. Like I had to finish the video. Now I can start a video and be like, you know what, this is a little too long, too much. Let me come back to this in another day. So when I tune into these videos, you shouldn't like feel like you have to watch the entire thing at once or whatever, even watch the whole thing if you don't like the way the guy sounds. I like the way English people sound, so I listen to a lot of English people. The truth popped into my head. I don't think I wanted to find it. I think it found me. Um, I wanted to find God is what I wanted to find, but instead I found the truth. That's the truth. Um, because God is too much of a word that is used in different ways. So I couldn't, and God was not the word that popped into my head or the feeling was more of a sound of like the that was really, and that was what God was, and it was truth. So I couldn't explain it any other way. So I said, let's do the spiritual absoluteness and break through the science of truth. There's no way of explaining it. It's a feeling or emotion, um, you know. But I'll do my best to explain it and break down so that way everybody will have the opportunity to see it. I honestly, like I said before in the past, every time when I was around 20, I believed in Jesus, I believed in whatever, but I did not believe in spiritual absoluteness or spiritual enlightenment. I didn't believe in Buddha. I didn't believe in all those like what is it, Havana or whatever those like places were. I didn't hardly believed in the afterlife and reincarnation. I believed that probably in my 20s I believed that when you died there's complete blackness and that was good enough for me, you know. But as I got older, I started to see some stuff. I was like, no, it cannot be that cannot be the end. All right. And I almost died a few times. So after that, after I saw the light, if you were to say it, but I can't explain it again. And then a few more other times, I started seeing these visions, these crazy things started to happen to me, and we'll get into those in the next one. So that way, if you're having some of these crazy visions or experiences, you'll be able to understand them better. What did you feel when you found God? That's a good question. I feel like it was at the different ways. It was painful. So I've been feeling God. The way that question is kind of too vague. Like, cause I've been feeling God since I was really, really young, and it was kind of just like a sense of peace and a sense of knowing. I remember seeing angels and stuff like that when I was younger. Um, So it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know how to explain that one. That's a good one. I have to think about it. Just depends on where you're at when you're gonna feel him. You could feel a lot of different emotions, tingling sensations. You can feel lightheaded, weak. You could even pass out. So, and to remember, God is everything. So technically, everything you feel is God, even pain, even sadness, even death, all this. And remember, death is a transformation of information. The information is evaporated into the air if you're cremated. If you're buried in the soil, it's decayed or whatever into the earth, and the water transformation is transferred that way. It is also transferred through atmospheric water and memory. So anything that touches our mind and our memory also transfers. This is why we look like our parents. We tend to look and act like people that we're around. Um, we remember people after they die if they leave a bigger mark on us. Um, so, there's people who never die. If you look at Jesus, he's never died. He's reincarnated himself from Thoth, from Atlantean priest kings, all types of different people having reincarnated from the Jesus Christ um, consciousness is what we call it, Christ consciousness, and this is also what we attempt to bring you. These are just words again that were made for us to explain things, things that we feel. So it's just like feeling Jesus Christ all over your body. Sarah, that's a really good question, but it's actually too vague. I overcame everything. So technically, life is an obstacle itself we have to overcome. And this is why I call it spiritual absoluteness, the mind and body completion course. Because you have to complete your mind and your body in the spiritual realm in order to feel whole, in order to feel happy when you die. Just like the Buddha says, you want to smile when you die. So I overcame everything from addiction, suicide, depression, anxiety, OCD. I still struggle with food. I still struggle with alcohol and marijuana. I still struggle with a few things. I'm a human being, but the thing is, we don't need these things. We can have whatever we want, but we don't need anything. That's the key to life. If we want to live it to the fullest, we can explore it. The thing is, whenever you put yourself in bad situations or a situation that you're not aware of, it can consume you. It can lead you down a path of destruction. But when you have the knowledge and awareness, you can see these things, you can explore them, and you can leave them. You can leave them where they're at. Basically, to be a part of consciousness, but not a part of your life. Because there are things that could be considered different or bad to you, but good to other people. And this is where you don't want to start getting yourself in a judgmental or distractive personality, because if you're doing this, you're not allowing yourself to evolve and overcome the things that you need to do. If you're looking and you're judging, you're most likely getting distracted, and that's a sign that you need to overcome that temptation or that in your own mind. So there could be an opposite or similar um, characteristic that you're noticing in somebody else that you need to actually address. So that's what that is. Oops. Yeah. So also when I panic, I'll also do this with my wrist, and I'll count my heartbeat. So, and this is when I'm really, really, really panicked. But when I'm just regular panicked, I'm breathing or whatever. But when I feel like I'm really injured real bad or something hurt, there's a lot to deal with. Each one of these topics are extremely what is it? Advanced or I want to say nuanced, but yeah, we're gonna enjoy it. I feel like we're gonna really enjoy it. At least I am. Let's have some fun, guys. Don't forget, give yourself a break, take a walk, and just be thankful because we got a new year ahead of us and we're about to kill it, guys. We're gonna start it off right, and no matter what happens throughout this year, we're gonna do it. We're gonna live it up. Stay blessed. Leave a like and comment. Go ahead, do that for me. I appreciate you guys, and we'll hope to see you on the next one. I'm probably gonna try and hop on a daily so that way we can keep this thing rolling and keep it moving for 2025. All right, peace out and love you.